Welcome to Sister Elenda, the official Church of Athreos Parishioner Outreach Program. As far as our opening hand goes, looks great. We're going to keep on this. We have Mana Confluence, we have Temple of Silence, we have Viscera Seer, and then we've got a nice little Aristocrats package already in our hands, so can't wait. Can't wait to get it down and show Elenda off what the Church of Athreos is capable of doing. Let's go to get down the Temple of Silence. Let's get the scry going, the scurry, the fever, the insanity, concealed courtyard. Yes, we do want that. We're going to put that on top. That sounds great. That's going to put us online for Read the Bones. And then that's our, actually, if y'all didn't know this, if you've attended the Church of Athreos in the past, Read the Bones, those are some of our past parishioners. So, if you want to be a part of the church and maybe one day have your bones be on Read the Bones, be sure and join the church and talk to Mother Runes. She'll help you in the transition process as far as joining our church. We're playing Sister Elenda. Lifelink. Whenever another creature dies, put a +1 counter on Elenda, the Dusk Rose. Whenever Elenda dies, create X1/1 white vampire creature tokens with a lifelink where X is Elenda's power. And let's go and get down the concealed courtyard. Yeah, let's go and go for Cartel Aristocrat. It's going to be a sack outlet, a way to kind of protect her, and then we can start swinging in 2/2 body. Playing against Taigam, Sidisi's hand. Skip your draw step at the beginning of your upkeep. There we go. At the beginning of your upkeep, look at the top 3 cards of your library. Put one of them into your hand, the rest into your graveyard. Then for 1 black mana, tap, exile X cards from your graveyard. Target creature gets -X/-X until end of turn. And then we draw into another swamp. Let's go and get the swamp down. We don't want to make our mana base too painful. Let's go and dump it out. Let's go for the Zulaport Cutthroat. Let's go and get down Viscera Seer too. This is a really good Church of Athreos party so far. Get out Viscera Seer. That way we can still kind of sack anything out that we need to go for. See if this is going to bring out any sort of spot removal from our opponent. See what they're going to target on this. All right, opponent's going to go for Condescend for 1. Yeah, we're not going to be able to pay that. Viscera Seer going to the graveyard. No. Viscera Seer doesn't mind it in the graveyard. He's pretty nasty. He doesn't bathe that often, so he don't mind that. But anyway, we're going to be able to swing in for 2 in the air, put our opponent down to 28, and they're going to get the scry going. Okay, there we go. Let's go and swing in for 2. Not in the air, swinging on the ground, excuse me. Swinging for 2, and then we're going to be good to go. Anything else, we're going to go and pass this turn. Now, Elenda. If you're thinking about building Elenda, if you came across this video because you were searching up Elenda, Elenda is a really fun commander. There's a lot of different ways you can go with it. Vampire Tribal. But the one thing that you do need to know is that with Elenda, she needs to go to the graveyard to get that last triggered ability. So whenever Elenda dies, create X1/1 white vampire creature tokens. She has to go to the graveyard for you to be able to take advantage of that. If you don't, you're going to be a sad camper, and she's going to go back to the command zone, and you're not going to end up with any vampire tokens on the battlefield. So just wanted to get that out there that people can remember that. All right, so let's go and swing in for 3. The Church of Athreos, we love sacrificing stuff and making sacrifices in the name of Athreos, but at the same time, we also don't mind getting our hands dirty. So let's go and swing in for 3. Kind of makes it a little bit easier for us to start sacrificing the rest of the church after that. All right, put them down to 25, and I think at this point, we could go Elenda. Do we going to go for Read the Bones or Elenda at this point right now? We do have Cauldron Haze, so we can get a little bit of extra value off of that. Let's go for Read the Bones. I wouldn't mind getting just some sort of action in the hand. Cauldron Haze is really nice to have in the hand, but if we don't have any... Ooh, Grim Tutor. Okay. Let's go and do this. Let's put the Windswept Teeth on the bottom. Let's go and grab that Grim Tutor. We're going to put that on top. Kind of keeps us open for what we want to do. Cauldron of Souls. Okay. And anything else, we're going to go and pass the turn. I'm really excited to be playing against Taigam. This is should be a pretty cool match. It's kind of one of those commanders that I meant to build when the new set got released, the new Commander 18 or 17, but I never got around to it. But in fact, time flies. Commander 18 is around the corner, which is absolutely crazy to me. Can't believe it's that close. All right, opponent's going to go for Fatal Push on Zulaport Cutthroat. We're going to go and sacrifice Zulaport in response to that. We're going to gain a life, and our opponent's going to lose a life. And we're going to gain some protection from a color with Cartel Aristocrat. Let's go and name black on this one. Yeah, I think that sounds good. In case there's another sort of disfigure or something like that. If they've got a bounce spell, that's fine. They can bounce it back to the hand. So, Cartel's going to have protection from black until the end of the turn, which we don't have it anymore. Now, as far as what we want to search up, we have Viscera Seer, Zulaport Cutthroat in the graveyard. We do have Grim Tutor. More than likely next turn, we're just kind of going to see what we can roll into. We have a couple different options. We have Rally the Ancestors. That's another way for us to kind of bring a bunch of creatures back onto the graveyard all at once. And we also have another way to kind of dump a bunch of creature cards into the graveyard too. So we'll see what we want to rip into. Scourge Stag High Priest. Okay. Let's go and get the Mana Confluence down. Let's go and push in for 2. Yeah, I think we're okay with that. Let's go and push in for 2. And I guess that's going to be 5 total mana, so we can go for Elenda and Scourgestag High Priest. We have to go for either one. We can do is Cauldron. We can go for Grim Tutor and Scourgestag. Let's do this. Let's go for Grim Tutor. Let's see what we want to search up, and then we'll roll out Scourgestag High Priest and then get down to Elenda the following turn. I think that sounds pretty good. Alright, Poe's going to crack Bad River in response. We might be seeing some sort of counterspell on this one. If that it is, it's not the end of the world. We can still get down Scourgestag High Priest and we'll be in a good spot. It's going to be 1-2. Counterspell. OG counterspell. That's fine. Let's go for Scourgestag High Priest, see if this sticks. Get that down. Maybe they've got if they do have another counterspell, at least we're kind of slowly kind of depleting these resources out of their hand. They really haven't been going for any sort of library manipulation or card draw. So anything else, we're going to go and pass the turn. Now, with Scourgestag High Priest on the battlefield, you always want to have some sort of sack outlet. We do. We have Cartel Aristocrat. So if we can somehow get another creature down, we do need a few more creatures to take advantage of Scourgestag High Priest, but having it on the battlefield and being able to activate it is always a really good opportunity. Ooh, Wake the Dead. So this can be Visceral Seer and Zulaport Cutthroat. We can go for that if we want to next turn. Let's do this. Let's go and swing in for 2. Usually, if you have a few extra creatures you don't want to swing in, so you always leave up as many creatures as possible at Scourgestag High Priest. But at this point right now, if we can slowly start chipping away at our opponent's life total with Cartel Aristocrat, I'll take that. So let's go and swing in for 2, and then put them down to 20. And then I think I like actually getting down Elenda on this one. If we run into a counterspell, we run into it. But getting down Elenda, we can sacrifice it to Cartel Aristocrat. And then that's going to put us online for Wake the Dead. And we can have Elenda go back to the command zone if we want to. Okay, opponent's going to cycle a Lonely Sandbar, probably digging for another counterspell. Okay, opponent's going to go for Deprive. That's fine. The Elenda goes back up to the command zone, and then anything else, we're going to go and pass the turn. All right, eventually they're going to run out of them. But the Church of Athos is not scared. So we did get the Grim Tutor counter. That was unfortunate. But one of the things that we would have searched up would have been some sort of Mass Reanimator spell. And with Wake the Dead, we can simply bring back Visceral Seer and Zulaport to kind of get a few 5/5 demon onto the battlefield, which was not going to be bad. Let's get the swamp down. Once again, let's go and push in for 2. And we're at a spot now to where when we tried to go for Elenda last turn, that now that we've made the land drop, we can actually still go and go for Elenda again this turn. Let's go and swing in for 2 again. Like I said, we've got a 10-turn clock with Cartel Aristocrat. We'll make it work. Put him down to 18. And then let's go and go for Elenda. The way our opponent's not really tapping out for Taigam makes me think that they probably got another counterspell. So if Elenda gets countered again, like I said, we've got to go and force it. Okay, there we go. Elenda's on the battlefield. And then we're going to go and pass the turn. I'm going to turn off the auto yield. That way we don't get in a situation to where we accidentally, sacrifice Elenda and it goes back to the command instead of the graveyard. Now with Wake the Dead, we have to cast it during combat during our opponent's turn. So if we want to, we can sack the entire board. At this point right now, we're looking at Ruinous Path, destroy target creature or planeswalker. Do we want to go and send Elenda into the graveyard? So let's say we do that. So next turn they're tapped down. They're going to have another opportunity to untap. It's going to be 3 cards in their hand. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, let's go and send Elenda to the command zone. Into the graveyard. I think I like that. Graveyard, not command zone. Okay, so we're going to have Elenda go to the graveyard. Anything that we want to sacrifice, I kind of want to leave Scourgestag High Priest up, I think, to take advantage of that. Yeah, let's go and let Elenda go to the graveyard. They had no power toughness on it, so unfortunately, we do get 1 vampire token for that. And then let's see, that will turn us online for Scourgestag High Priest once we swing in with that. Okay. So we draw to Tainted Field. Let's go and get that down. Let's go and push in for 2 on this one. We can still tap Visceral Seer and Zulaport with Scourgestag. Yeah, so we can go and swing in for 3. I like that. Swing with Cartel Aristocrat, swing with that Vampire token. And what we can do is basically, once we go for this Wake the Dead, because we're looking at 1, 2, 3, we're looking at 3 creatures next turn. If we wanted to sacrifice Scourgestag High Priest for some reason, we could. But we like leaving them up, because next turn, once we go for Wake the Dead, during our opponent's combat step, we'll be able to bring those back and then end up with at least probably in the neighborhood of about 4 to maybe around 4 vampires, end up with a 5/5 demon, and then we sacrifice them. Now, those creatures have to be sacrificed at the beginning of the next end step. So, if we want to just simply sack the board out, we can go for that to get those extra counters on there. But we definitely want to take advantage of Zulaport and then getting those vampires onto the battlefield. Now, this is what I'm talking about with Elenda. having Elenda go to the graveyard, you need to build contingencies into your deck that allow you to make sure that you can reanimate Elenda, and it is really easy to take advantage of that her power and toughness bonus, getting those vampires on the battlefield. Okay, see what they're going to be tapping out for. But the only, if they do go for a board wipe, that wouldn't be the end of the world. But we see Taigam. But basically what I was going to say is if they did go for a board wipe, we can still go for Wake the Dead because these activated abilities are at instant speed. Okay, only during combat on an opponent's turn. So I'm pretty sure that we can go for Wake the Dead. And in fact, it's going to be 2 total mana. Let's go ahead and go for that. So we're looking at 1, 2, 3. Bring 3 total creatures back. This is going to be 1, 2, 3. Kind of like a little build your own living death. I like it. So we're going to go for Wake the Dead. If they have Mana Leak, they've got it. So let's see if they've got a counterspell. We'll keep our fingers crossed that this sticks onto the battlefield. We run into Condescend, Counterspell, Deprive. Hopefully this is good. Maybe they've got Spell Pierce. We have enough mana for Spell Pierce. Either way, we're still okay. We've got 2/2 body on the battlefield and Skirt Stack High Priest. But once we bring these back, we can sacrifice... at least sacrifice Viscera Seer, get an additional counter on Elenda, and then sacrifice it to the Cartel Aristocrat to get that. All right, let's see what they've got. It's going to be 2 total mana they're tapping out for. Return target spell. Okay, all right. All right, so they're going to bounce that back to them. At least we still have it. That's still something. All right. And we don't have enough mana to tap out for that Skirt Stack High Priest. We're going to run them out of resources eventually. I like it, though. Vizkopa Guildmage. I'm just going to get down Vizkopa Guildmage. Just going to be... or do you want to leave up another... Yeah, I think I like going for Vizkopa Guildmage. We can go for that lifelink, and whenever you gain life, each opponent loses 1 life. Loses that much life. So if we get into spots where we can go for those activations, it sounds pretty good. Let's go and push in. And actually now, we're online for a 5/5 demon, so we don't want to swing in. So we sacrifice a vampire to give protection to Cartel Aristocrat. That's going to put us at a 5/5 demon. And then we still have more than enough. We have 5 mana to tap out for Wake the Dead during our opponent's turn. So... we got some stuff to do. We're just going to go and pass the turn. Swinging in for 2 against a 3/4 doesn't really help us much at this point right now. So with Taigam's hand, or Taigam Sidisi's hand, at the beginning of your upkeep, you look at the top 3 cards, put 1 in your hand, rest in your graveyard. Yeah, I need to build this. This sounds like a lot of fun. I've never really built Black-Blue before. I do have Phoenix Crank, but it's really a bit more like combo-style deck with Mind Crank. So to build kind of a Delve... Black-Blue kind of control style deck with Taigam sounds a lot of fun, and plus I love manipulating the top part of your library or having unique effects like that. All right, opponent's going to go for Read the Bones. We can't force Wake the Dead because it has to be cast during their upkeep step. So we're just going to go and let that go through. But at this point right now, we're basically on the Cartel Aristocrat game plan of sacrificing the vampire to tap Skirt Stack High Priest to get a 5/5 demon on the battlefield. Now, with Vizkopa Guildmage, it's going to be 6 total mana for that activation. Let's say that we do end up going for Wake the Dead and they force another counterspell. They're sitting at 4 total mana. That's going to allow us next turn to go for a 5/5 demon. We're going to be able to swing in for 5. If we do the Vizkopa Guildmage activations, that's going to give us gaining 5, they're going to lose 5, which is going to basically be like another 10 damage. And in fact, let's go ahead and force the... let's see if they're going to swing in, because we can actually do it during the block step. Oh, there we go. It skipped all the way through damage. Just kind of scared me for a sec. We're going to go Viscera Seer, bring those back. We're going to force it again. That's going to be black, colorless, and then another swamp. At this point, we're going to hold off on the Skirt Stack High Priest. We want to see if we can't... maybe there's a board wipe on the second main phase or something like that. That's going to be 2 mana they're tapping out for. Okay, opponent's going to go for Logic Knot on Wake the Dead. Yeah, that's going to get it. Got it. Not going to pay for Logic Knot. No, we're not. All right, and so that's going to put us online for sacrificing the... once we get to the end step, we're going to go and go for that. We're going to go ahead and sacrifice the Vampire. Give Cartel Aristocrat protection from... I think at this point, we'll probably go for blue. Well... if they have removal, they haven't. Either way, we have Morbid online at this point right now, so we can still, whatever they do, if they cast something in response to Cartel Aristocrat, probably end up going for protection from black. That way we don't worry about a counterspell. And let's go for the Morbid. We're going to tap 2 creatures and get them down. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're going to end up with 8 mana if we hit the land drop next turn, but that's not going to keep us online for that multiple activation. So, in fact, let's go ahead and go for it. Let's go ahead and push in. I guess technically, yeah, I don't think we want to sacrifice that. Yeah, let's just go and swing it with the demon. Because Taigam Sidisi's hand does not have reach. No, it does not. So let's go and push in with the demon. And I'm okay with going for this, tapping out with the Vizkopa Guildmage. So we're going to swing in, see if they declare any sort of blockers or any sort of bounce spell. If they do, we still have the Evangel to get down to. We can sacrifice to get another demon going too, so it's not the end of the world. And with Cauldron Haze, unfortunately, it's not going to work with Persist. So whatever they're about to tap out for, it's not going to work with the demon. Oh yeah, excuse me. They do have the Sidisi activation. Exile X card from your graveyard. Target creature gets -X until end of turn. Yes, forgot about that. So they're probably going to be going for that with the demon. The good thing about that is if they go for the -X, we can just retap our creatures and get another demon to replace it. So eventually they're going to run out of cards out of the graveyard to go for that. But opponent's got a really good, counter everything and then get down Taigam, jam it until you get you have some fun. All right, that's going to be the demon token. Let's go and get the Evangel down. It's going to be 1, 2, 3. And then with the Morbid active, since we did lose our 5/5 demon, we're going to go and tap out on some of our creatures. We're going to gain 1 life. And then whenever you gain life this turn, yeah, let's do that. So let's go ahead and activate. Whenever you gain life this turn, each opponent loses that much life. So we're going to pay white, black, and then Tainted Field. Because we're going to end up with another demon too. So at least kind of chip them away for 2. We're going to gain a life that's going to make them lose. Go down to, let's go and always yield to that. We're going to go and make that Scourge Stack High Priest. That's going to be, we'll tap the Vizkopa and the Evangel. That way, if we need to sacrifice something for Cartel Aristocrat to give it protection from something, we can go for that. So, end up with the 5/5 demon, put him down to 11, and then anything else, we're going to go and pass the turn to our opponent. All right, there we go. Now, what we can do is we have Cauldron of Souls. We do have a sack outlet. So, once we go for Vizkopa Guildmage activation, actually, if we want to do it a little bit cheaper, we do have the Cauldron Haze. So, let's kind of get that kind of lined up maybe for a second. So, basically with Persist, though, whenever they... if a creature would die, it had no -1 counter, it returned to the battlefield with a -1 counter on it. All of our creatures on the battlefield are 2/2 toughness, or at least 2 toughness. So we can give them a Cauldron Haze, all of these creatures. We can sacrifice them to bring them back. And now we will have to go for the Vizkopa Guildmage activation. Target creature gets -2. Okay, that's fine. And they did have to tap out for that. So that puts us online to where we might be able to kind of get into some shenanigans with like a Cauldron Haze, having some creatures enter the battlefield and gaining some life. We'll see what they have to show for it, though, once we kind of force swinging in with the demon. And the Evangel, we have to pay 2 mana to sacrifice a permanent to transform it. Whenever a creature... Whenever Wayward Disciple or another creature you control dies, target opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. Okay, so let's go ahead and I guess I'm worried about like something like Aether Spouts, sending all these creatures back to the hand if our opponent tapped out main phase like that. Let's just go and swing the demon in. I think we're okay with that. Yeah, let's just go and push the demon in. If it's going to stick on the back end, then we'll kind of do some more stuff after that. But I like just pushing in with the demon on this one. Yeah, I'm worried about 8. I would love to swing in, but if they go for Aether Spouts, it kind of complicates some stuff. So that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. Aetherize. There we go. Return all attack creatures in. So that will be demon. Do we want to sacrifice Cartel Aristocrat to go for anything like that? We did miss out, unfortunately, on that. So that's going to be 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that's fine. Demon goes back to the hand. Let's go and do this. Let's go and go for Buried Alive. That way, if we do rip into one of our Reanimator spells, we can really set up a really nice Reanimator package, and maybe we might be able to kind of start bouncing some creatures out. Let's get this popped out, kind of see what's going to help us with this. Let's go for Pawn of Ulamog. That sounds good. Let's go for the Autocrat, and then what else? I guess we'll go and grab the Suture Priest. That way we can really kind of apply some pressure onto them. That'd be good. Or actually, let's go and grab Fiend Hunter. There we go. That'll be a good spread for the graveyard. And then anything else, we're going to go and pass the turn to our opponent. All right. So we do have the Evangel on the battlefield. If we want to start going for those Blood Artist activations, we can. But yeah, with that Aetherize, it did send the demon back to the hand. So now, as far as this Buried Alive, I ended up going for Fiend Hunter, the Autocrat, and Pawn of Ulamog. And the reason for that is if we do get into a Mass Reanimator spell, we want to have as many creatures on the battlefield as possible. So Pawn of Ulamog is going to allow us to amplify our creatures out once we start sacrificing them. And then with the Autocrat, we're going to end up with 3 Surf tokens on the battlefield too, which is going to make it a little bit easier for us to kind of start sacrificing some of our creatures. Now, and we still have Cauldron Haze in the hand, too, so if our opponent does go for some sort of board wipe, we can at least kind of bring these creatures back on the battlefield. Now, as far as sacrificing a permanent to get this to flip, I think at this point, I really like the, whenever a creature enters the battlefield, we're going to gain 1 life. We can stack these Vizkopa Guildmage activations. So, that bottom ability for 3 mana, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, so once we get to like 9 mana, I know it's a little far away, we need to make double land drops. Counterspell in the hand, okay. That's fine. But once we can start going for these multiple activations with the Vizkopa Guildmage, we can really put some pressure on our opponent. And then our opponent did bring back a counterspell. All right, I thought that would pop up right there. No, it did not. All right, so we'll see what we want to. As far as swinging in, though, we need to get some movement going, though. Swords to Plowshares. Do we want to force that? It's going to be one, and it still gives us maybe double activations off Vizkopa Guildmage gaining some life. Do we want to put it into a point to where they're going to have to tap out for that? Let's go for Cauldron of Souls. I think I like that. If they want to go for the counterspell, they can go for it. We can get down the Cauldron of Souls. It does cut us off some Vizkopa Guildmage activations, but at this point right now, we're just trying to get rid of some of that action in the hand. And then if we can go for Swords to Plowshares on our opponent's turn to force them to maybe spend some of their resources at the end of the turn, at the beginning of their upkeep or something like that, we can get rid of Taigam and make them kind of force out for a really big creature. Maybe recast Taigam or something like that. All right, opponent's going to go for Negate, and that still leaves Counterspell up for them. All right, that's going to be 2 cards in hand. We know one of them is Counterspell, and we don't really have to worry about swinging in. So we're going to be able to swing in for 6 this turn if we wanted to. They're going to be able to chump block on one of our creatures. We're going to miss out on the Evangel, gain that live trigger. Swinging for 6, so we're going to get in for 4, puts them down to 7. Yeah, I think at this point, I guess technically we could go for Cauldron Haze if we wanted to give one of these creatures Undying. But then we're going to be running right into that counter spell. It could be a good way to kind of go and force the issue, though, too. I think I like leaving creatures on the battlefield. Yeah, let's not swing in. We could swing in. We're going to lose one of them. Opponent's going to have pick of the litter as far as what they want to get rid of, and then with that counterspell backup, it's going to be hard for us to kind of push past on that. So we may end up forcing this during their turn with Swords to Plowshare potentially. If they do tap out for that, that'll be us kind of hopefully drawing into something. They're going to be able to go for Taigam Scheming. Target creature gets -X until end of turn on Vizkopa Guildmage. Okay, and let's do this. No, I like leaving up Swords to Plowshare. Okay, we're going to get the Vizkopa Guildmage into the graveyard. Yeah, this is even if we do swing in, what's going to end up happening is, let's see if we can't force these Swords to Plowshare. Oh, dang, I accidentally clicked OK on that one. Okay, so we'll force it at the end of their step. But yeah, so if we swing in on that one, they're going to be able to chump block Vizkopa Guildmage, and then they have the Sidisi activation the following turn. Draw 2 cards, then return a land you control to its owner's hand. Let's go for Swords to Plowshares on Sidisi. Let's go ahead and force that. It's going to be one white mana off of that. They don't have enough mana to retap out for that, and it's at least going to leave one more creature onto the battlefield. They do have counterspell, so it's going to force them to get rid of the counterspell. So now, if we draw into something this turn, we can get that going. All right, there we go. Tap out for the counterspell. They're going to have the Tragic Lesson, draw 2 cards, discard a card, and let you return a land to its owner's hand. And then we'll be able to swing in next turn. Okay, and we draw into Tithe. Our opponent is sitting at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We're at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We are at 7, so we'll be able to start making the land drops off of that. In fact, let's go and do that. We're going to go for Tithe, search your library for a Plains card. If I counted correctly, yeah, there should be 8 total lands, and we've got 7. So we'll at least be able to get a few more lands in the hand and start making our land drops. But at this point right now, we desperately, very badly, let's grab that Godless Shrine. Let's go put the Godless Shrine into play, tapped. I'm not going to pay 2 on this one. And then anything else, I think we're going to pass the turn. But yeah, we desperately need to find some sort of card draw. We do have a graveyard that's ready to go, so we have a couple different options that we can go for. Once again, we're running into that counterspell deck, so that's going to be a little hard for us to do something with that, but we're going to try our best. At this point right now, if they do go for Sidisi activation, exiling some cards out of their library, out of their graveyard, we still have Cauldron Haze to go for. It may not be the best at this point right now, but we can at least kind of get some stuff done. Bring it back up, maintain some sort of board state, but it's going to be hard. All right, target creature gets -2/-2. Do we want to sacrifice another permanent with that Cauldron Haze? Yeah, it's just going to be hard for us to push through a 3/4 with activations like that. Even if we bring back the Evangel, I'd almost rather hold on to Cauldron Haze just to do something. I mean, we get it back, which is nice. We're going to gain that live, but it doesn't really do much just for one creature. Yeah, let's just go and let that go through. All right, that's fine. So we're gonna have the Cartel Aristocrat, the only creature left on the battlefield, the only Church of Athreos parishioner left. Eventually, they're gonna have to Vana's Hunger. Each opponent sacrifices a creature. If you have City's Blessing, each opponent half the creatures he or she controls instead. So we're gonna go for Cartel Aristocrat in response to that. I'd like to maintain some sort of creature. Yeah, I think so. I mean, we could have got around it that way. They don't have the city's blessings just yet, and it's really important that we do have a. No, we'll go and let that go through. That's fine. Go for Cartel Aristocrat. Okay. Sacrifice Cartel Aristocrat. That goes into the graveyard, and then we're going to go and pass the turn to our opponent. Yeah, I'm sorry, but when you're playing against... I'm not knocking our opponent's deck, but it's just really hard to... we're not playing blue. It's hard for us to kind of stop some of these counter spells. We're not running hand disruption. We've had a lot of good options. We have a graveyard that's really good to go, but when you've got... just a bunch of counter spells. Really hard to kind of push past through that. So unfortunately, I was hoping to get you a good Church of Athreos showing today, but it looks like we might end up losing to 3-4 body swinging across. Let's go and get down to the Scrubland, which is not a lot of fun. Anything else? We're going to go and pass the turn. I mean, there might have been a few ways that we could have sequenced something. That one turn we could have swung in for 3, but either way, when you've got Taigam going for the activation, it's a little hard to kind of build up a good board state when you're swinging into a 3-4 with a bunch of 2-2s that are meant to be having a bunch of creatures. Our opponent's going to go for Fact or Fiction. Let's go and arrange it into a few piles. Let's go for Concentrate, Tetsamok, Demir Signet. I guess let's try to get it the most frantic search. That way, Tetsamok's not the best. Yeah, we're going to put it in a pile like that. That'll give them the Signet. They're okay on mana. Tragic Slip, once they have Tragic Slip online, it's okay. And that's going to be 4 mana to draw 3 cards. At least if they're not getting our free spell and they have Tetsamok. Yeah, we'll click okay on that one. But yeah, so hopefully, we're basically on Graveyard Recursion or Bust. We haven't seen any more counter spells, at least, coming out of stuff like the Fact or Fiction pile, but we'll see. But with them being able to look at the top, yeah, they're discarding Mana Leak. I would assume there's another counter spell in there, so we'll see what we can get into. We're going to go and make them earn it on this one, because it's been a little bit of a long video. We're looking about approaching the 27-minute mark, so we'll see what they're going to show for it this turn. Okay, let's see what we draw into. Draw into Rotlung Reanimator. Let's go and get the Urborg down. Let's go and go for Rotlung. It's going to be 1-2. Whenever Rotlung or another creature dies. So let's say they do start going for the Taigam activations. At least we're going to end up with some sort of zombies onto the battlefield that will help us go for that. And especially with that Cauldron Haze. So we'll get down the Rotlung Reanimator. And then we're going to go and... we're going to go and pass the turn. Now we can declare Rotlung Reanimator a blocker on Taigam. That will give us a 2-2 zombie. But let's see what they have it for this turn. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. Forbidden Alchemy. Look at the top 4 cards of your library. Put one in your hand. Rest in your graveyard. Okay. But yeah, this is not knocking our opponent's deck. These are all perfectly legal commander cards. It's just a little hard to get your stuff done with through counter spells. But hey, that's I play plenty of control. When I play Kyrnos, we've got a lot of counter spells in there too. And I'm working on Azor's like a blue-white Azor ban list kind of style deck. It doesn't have this many counter spells, but I've got them in there. Got a fair amount of them in there. But they've got it. So listen, they've had it for most of the game. We did almost. I was thinking, if we put a lid into the graveyard, we'll be able to reanimate it pretty quick. But man, that was we were fighting through that Wake the Dead. That was pretty brutal. And our opponent's got a pretty good little graveyard going too. All right, see if they're going to swing in with Taigam. But yeah, I'll probably end up building Taigam in sometime near future. All right, so we're going to go and chump block with the Rotlung Reanimator. Do we want to go for Cauldron Haze on this one? I just we got 5 cards. I would assume that we're running into a counter spell, but to be able to get another zombie, I feel like it'd be nice to have a few more creatures to take advantage of this. But at this point right now, we just need to get something going. If we can just somehow get 2 zombies, let's say they don't have a counter spell somehow, they're swinging with Taigam, they don't have some removal. With 2, 4, 4, I mean with 4 power swinging across, it's we're looking at a 3-turn clock to close it out. But like I said, we need to do something. If we just sit back, the more they're going to be able to dig deeper in the library with that ability during their upkeep. All right, opponent's going to go for Murderous Cut in response to that. We still get a zombie on the battlefield, but unfortunately we're going to miss out on the Cauldron Haze, miss out on that Persist. So there we go. Get on the zombie, and then start swinging beat sticks. We'll see if they have any more sort of removal. That's going to put us at a 6-turn clock, so 3 might be able to outrace the Taigam out there, unless they're going to get another creature down. Let's see, though. Compulsive Research. Target player draws 3 cards and then discards 2 cards unless he or she discards a land card. Okay. All right, we draw into Soul Warden. Let's go and get the Soul Warden down. We'll tap out for that. It's going to be 1 white mana. That way, if they start getting some creatures down somehow, but I'm looking at this now, and it looks like it's probably an all Taigam deck. Just 100% Taigam and a bunch of spells. Let's go and swing with the 2-2 zombie. See if that's going to get out any sort of response from our opponent. More than likely, we'll have some removal. And then, there we go, put him down to 9. Then we're going to go and pass the turn. But yeah, if we can find some sort of removal, that'll help us kind of get through there. And in fact, I'm going to go ahead and let's go and pop our graveyard out. We can just get a little bit better picture of what we've got going on since our opponent's got a ton of cards in their graveyard. But yeah, once we've drawn the Reanimator spell, in fact, let's go ahead and hop over there real quick while they're doing that this turn. Sister Elenda. Yeah, we don't. Unfortunately, this is one of those decks where I don't really have a ton of spot removal in here. We're going all in aristocrats on this one. Okay, sorry about that. I had a little bit of a coughing attack, and then I was looking at the deck, and I couldn't mute the mic quick enough, and so I had to send it back to the game real quick. Okay, so we draw into Ether Necromancer. Let's go and get that down. It's gonna be 1, 2, 3. Whenever, so basically at this point right now, we can get to the Necromancer down. Whenever another human dies, we're gonna be able to get a 2/2 zombie onto the battlefield. So if something does happen to Soul Warden or the Necromancer, we might be able to get some zombies going. We're just trying at this point right now. My kingdom for a Cavern of Souls on human right now. My goodness. I would, come on. I would love that. All right, Opponent's going to go for Forbidden Alchemy. Look at the top 4 cards of your library. Put one into your hand, the rest on the bottom of your graveyard. Okay. But yeah, this may be all counter. This may be all spells, Taigam, which it is. It's pretty cool. You know, just, I mean, it's, you can tell our opponent doesn't have, at least at this point right now, their mana base is not that expensive, a bunch of basics. So if you're wanting to get into Commander, you could definitely build a Taigam deck very cheaply with just counter spells and removal. You know, see how potent it is this turn. So they're going to be tapping out for. This is going to be 1, 2, 3. Counter target spell, that's fine. Sure, go for it. We've got Soul Warden Beat Sticks. Our opponent's sitting at 9, and she's just salivating at the mouth, ready to swing in. She's angry. She's hungry. She can taste the win. We're going to swing in for 1. Not above a Soul Warden win. Let's go and swing in, put him down to 8, and then we're going to go and pass the turn. Okay, there we go. Yeah, sorry about that. When I went over to go look at my deck, I was trying to figure out what kind of helps us get out from underneath this if we need sort of spot removal. And then I had to cut my commentary short because I had a really bad cough. I was like, oh. And it's kind of one of those coughs where you can't really talk. I'm just like, oh. And then I don't want to just mute the mic and then come back from the mic and be like, did Jolt cry? Is he crying because he ran into a bunch of counter spells? Like, no, we're going to make it. Okay. Opponent swings in for a 3/4. This put us down to 20. See if they're going to get down this turn. If they get any sort of, I'll get the Mancer coming down. Okay. We're going to gain life, put us up to 21. At this point right now, we are 1 minute ahead of our opponent. I'm going to be honest. Hey, this may seem kind of cheap. I'm not above a timeout win that is really far away, though, at this point. We have basically 17 more minutes to play off of this. So, but if we can somehow get some more creatures onto the battlefield, and let's see what they bring back. So they are going to bring back Counterspell. That's going to be, man, it's going to be hard to fight through that. Okay, so Counterspell goes back to the hand. We definitely need to keep that in mind. About the only way we're going to win is if we somehow get them to deplete that. Whenever it dies, draw X cards, you lose X life. Yeah, let's go for Corpse Augur. I mean, technically, we're gonna run into a Counterspell on this one. Yeah, is that what we're going to go for? We're going to gain a life. It's going to buy us a little bit of extra time. It's going to be another body, but I mean, there's just nothing we can do to fight that count. Yeah, let's go for it. I'm going to go for Corpse Augur. If for some reason it sticks on the battlefield, we've got at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We've got 10 creature cards in the graveyard. 11 now because Corpse Augur is going to join them. Anything else, we're going to go and pass the turn. So, unfortunately, the Mancer came down is going to be chump blocking our Soul Warden, so we're not going to be able to swing in. We're going to very slowly die to a 7-turn clock of 3/4 Taigam swinging across. And then once our opponent goes for a Taigam activation, then get rid of it from there. Okay, opponent's going to go for Telling Time. But we are online. In fact, I want to finish what I was trying to say. I just could not stop coughing. So we have Rally the Ancestors as another way for us to get some good stuff going. And we also have Living Death. Those are one of our 2 outs as far as our deck goes. We are sitting at 68 cards in the library, so we really haven't gotten that far into our library. Hopefully we kind of draw into one of those. Opponent's going to go for Doomblade. Yep, that's fine. Go for it. It's going to turn it into swing in for 4 toughness. So we are looking still at a 5-turn clock with the Taigam and the Mancer out there. Now, once we do, if we got into one of those mass reanimator spells, we'd be able to bring all those. If it resolves, fingers crossed, if it resolves, we're going to be able to at least close the game out because we have more than enough creatures between the Sack Owlet, gaining that life, and then that Zulaport Cut thrown out of the bin. So even if they do have some sort of spot removal, let's say they go for a Taigam activation in response to that, we're still going to be in a good spot. Opponent's going to go for the Vizier of Many Fates. Oh, man, this is just... it's like we're trying to play basketball and there's just like a 7'8" guy out there that's just blocking every single shot. Okay. Drawn to Eiley. I'll go for it. What did they return off that one? I want to check real quick. Okay, let's get our graveyard popped over. They returned Counterspell back to the hand. Once they made a copy, we're about to be at turn 20. My goodness. This is a revealed frantic search. We're gonna get rid of that. Yeah, let's go for Eiley. See if that draws out a Counterspell. Our Kingdom for not tapping out for not sending Elenda back to the command zone. My goodness, at least we would have given us something to do. Just silly us for going for Wake the Dead. We get down to Eiley. Okay, so and then with Eiley on the battlefield, there's not really. It's going to buy us some more turns. So if we can get a timeout win, I'm not above it at this point right now. All right, that's kind of so our game plan right now is either Living Death, Rally the Ancestors, or making our opponent timeout before they can win. So that's I'm above that. We're 1 minute ahead on the clock, and I'm okay with that. Opponent's going to go for Think Twice. Sure, go for it. Now, with Eiley on the battlefield, and we get another creature down, we can sacrifice that to gain a little bit of life if we want to slow that clock down. We are looking at 5 coming across, so it's going to be still a 4-turn clock. All right, Murder, sure, fine, go for it. Bye, Eiley, go to the graveyard. It's going to be 5, so we're still looking at a 3-turn clock. So I think the timeout win on this one's probably not going to be the best, but we're going to see. So they're going to get the Taigam going. Chunk some more cards in the graveyard. They did get rid of a Dark Petition, so that's a little scary if they're getting rid of a Dark Petition. And our opponent knows that the clock's kind of getting down a little bit low, so they're going to be swinging in for 5. It's going to put us down to 12. But, yeah, we're going to try it. And I'm pretty sure, yeah, that they brought that Counterspell back. So even if we do rip into that one, let's go for Liliana. We keep ripping creatures. That's fine. We get Liliana to flip maybe somehow. Whenever another non-token creature dies, we have to watch out for that. All right, opponent's going to be tapping out for 1-2. It's going to be Dissipate. That's fine. It gets exiled. Pass the turn to our opponent. They're going to be swinging in for 5, which is going to put us down to 7. Let's see what they're going to go for on this activation at the end of our turn. Mystical Teaching. Search your life for an instant card with flash. Reveal it, put it in your hand, then shuffle your library. Now, and this deck right now is basically showing you how powerful it is to dig through your library. With Taigam's ability, look at the top 3 cards of your library. We're sitting at 66 cards in our library. Opponents is sitting at 17 cards in their library. So they're able to see a whole lot more cards than we have this game, which has allowed them to basically control the entire game. So if you've never been much of a blue player, you've never been much of a control style player, this is textbook example of what you want to be doing with a control deck, is digging deeper into your library quicker than your opponent, because you're going to be able to find more answers for the threats that your opponents are putting out there. Opponent's going to get the wall down. Enter the battlefield, return target sorcery, instant or sorcery from a graveyard to your hand. Let's see what they're going to bring back on this one. Bring back Logic Knot. Okay, so basically we're kind of locked out of the game at this point right now. They've got Counterspell and Logic Knot. We're not going to be able to fight through that. Altar of Dementia. Yeah, we'll still go and get it down. We're going to make them go and swing out, though. It's going to be 5 coming across, puts us down to 2, then it's swinging on the back end. But yeah, we're not going to be able to fight through those 2 Counterspells, but we'll go and pass the turn over there. 21 turn clock. We did get them down pretty low, though. And with those Vizkopa Guildmage, yeah, if we had a little bit more mana with Vizkopa, something like Mother of Runes, we definitely could have, with Soul Warden, we definitely could have taken really advantage of that Vizkopa if that's been something in our opening package, but unfortunately we didn't hit that. All right, opponent's going to be swinging in for 5, puts us down to 2. Oh, that's 21 commander damage. We got to see Taigam deal 21 commander damage 3 at a time. Hey, shout out to our opponent. But yeah, so they had 14 cards left in the library. We had 65. Unfortunately, we couldn't get any sort of card draw going. We had a graveyard that was just absolutely ready to go. And you saw how many times we tried to go for that Wake the Dead, but unfortunately we couldn't get it going. We had Viscera Seer, Zulaport, and Elenda. We had the win pretty much out of the graveyard, because once we get down Elenda, sacrifice those creatures to get those Zulaport triggers going. We get those additional counters on there. Once we sacrifice Elenda, we get those vampires going. Then we rinse and repeat again to get some more Zulaport triggers. So we had the win in our graveyard, but unfortunately our opponent had more than enough answers to make sure that we did not do that to them. And then we slowly got commander damaged out by Taigam. So if you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye.